airstrike on Jabalia, northern Gaza, has killed at least 3 Palestinians. Meanwhile, in southern Lebanon, a ceasefire offers hope for displaced families, though Israeli warnings keep many villages off limits. Welcome to special coverage here on Qnews this weekend, where we track the regional humanitarian crisis that Gaza and Lebanon are still going through despite international calls for peace. Palestinian medical sources have confirmed an Israeli airstrike on a civilian gathering in Jabalia in northern Gaza killed at least 3 Palestinians and injured others. That came as the Israeli aggression since October 2023 has caused over 44,000 Palestinian deaths and more than 5,000 injuries, with many under rubble. Despite calls from the United Nations and the ICJ for a ceasefire, Israel's attacks persist, worsening Gaza's dire humanitarian crisis. At least 23 people have been killed by the Israeli military across the Gaza Strip since dawn today. That includes 17 in Gaza, 1 in Jabalia, and 5 in 3 World Central Kitchen aid workers in Khan Yunis. 7 people were killed in an Israeli raid in the Shujaiya neighborhood in East Gaza City. Israeli army artillery also shelled areas north of Nuseirat's refugee camp and targeted agricultural land in San Gaza. Have been including what hit a car on Sahadin Street in southern Gaza's Khan Yunis city. 2 of the 4 people killed in the strike on the car were reported to be workers with a humanitarian relief group in Gaza. Israeli bombing also targeted the El Satr El Gabi area in northeast of Khan Yunis, where 2 more Palestinians were killed and a number of others injured. The Gaza food crisis has worsened with escalating malnutrition, aid restrictions, and a looming humanitarian disaster. To talk us more through the food crisis and the famine that citizens are going through in Gaza, we are joined from Bethlehem by the Communication and Advocacy Coordinator for Action Aid, an NGO. Joining us on the line, it's Riham El Jafari. Thank you very much for being here with us on Qnews. Can you tell us the situation in Gaza right now when it comes to people trying to get food, the role of the World Food Programme and organizations like yours?
Thank you for having me. The situation in Gaza is more than catastrophic. It is more than deteriorating, and the food crisis and the bread and the winter is getting worse and worse each day and each minute in Gaza. Lack of food, to the shelter items, to the continuous displacement, to the severe shortage in everything. Gaza now, it is the whole population in Gaza, 2.3 million people are under a risk of famine and under a catastrophic level of hunger, because the people do not have access to basic foods. We are talking about the flour and the bread, which is to the Palestinians family and to all Middle East families. The bread is a basic component in the meals, and this component is not available due to the hindering and obstruction and placed on the aid Gaza. The of October and November witness the lowest number of aid truck delivered to Gaza population. We are talking about an average in November about 69 aid trucks a day, while Gaza needs a day, according to Oxfam estimation, 1,500 trucks a day. In October was the lowest and the worst month for aid delivery in Gaza. Under the severe destruction for the agricultural land, the infrastructure for the food system, the fishing boats and the fishing where the population depend on their daily food before October 7th.
Well, let me just ask you about the situation, because we're hearing of stampedes, of people trying to get bread to feed their families. How do organizations deal with a situation like that?
We are trying to deliver hot meals and to deliver food parcels. Also, we are hindered the factors of hindering unlimited quantities of food by the continuous pumping, by the shortage of fuel need for this. So for the aid organization is difficult. In the north, aid organization are unable to deliver any kind of food to the north due to the bombing, to the denial access to those areas, which means that people are left without food, without water. And even for the people who are displaced, Bet Lahia, Bet Hanun, Balia, heading to Gaza City, live without anything. They live without any place and without no safe place to go on, without shelter. We are in the winter. No shelters item are available. What was available for this winter does not cover more than 6% of the needs. So what is delivered to Gaza only covers 6% of the needs of the people in Gaza. As I said, everything is missing in Gaza. There is a severe shortage in medical supplies, in food, in fuel.
I want to come on to. I want to for interrupting. I want you to come on to medical supply. What kind of organizations like Doctors Without Borders play in Gaza? The challenges facing medical organizations in providing healthcare.
The main challenges is the continuous bombing and targeting for hospitals and the medical facilities and the medical staff, and the hindering of entrance and delivery of medical supplies. We are talking about the anesthesia, antibiotics, some painkillers, some medical equipment, and also the big and heavy equipment for removal of rubbles of the roads to allow and to allow the war and the work and the movement of medical supplies is missing. And also the first and the most important is the missing safety. There is no guarantee to safety and the protection of the medical and the humanitarian staff. As we say today, the staff of World Central Kitchen Marketing, although they coordinated with Israeli authorities before any movement, so there is no guarantee for the protection of medical staff and the aid organization to continue its work.
Absolutely.
And also and the medical system, Gaza needs medical staff, needs colleagues from and help and assist and support Palestinian exhausted medical staff. They are exhausted. They are working without stopping for more than 14 months.
Okay.
This is unacceptable situation for
it is indeed. Thank you very much. We're just out of time. Reham El Jafari, thank you very much from the NGO Action Aid. Thank you very much for being on our program. Now let's move on to the latest developments in Lebanon. The Israeli residents of southern Lebanon not to return to dozens of villages until further notice, despite the ceasefire. A military spokesperson stated that residents would be at risk of attack by Israeli forces if they attempted to return home. The announcement designates a no-go zone through the villages of Shibah, Hebareya, Majuyun, Anoyun, Yohmor, Ankantara, Shakra, Barashit, Yatar and Al-Mansuri. Lebanon's health ministry has reported that an Israeli strike on a vehicle in southern Lebanon wounded 3 people, including a 7-year-old child. The strike on a Zun comes between Israel and Hezbollah after 2 months of all-out war. The Israeli military has not issued any immediate comment on the incident. In the Lebanese capital Beirut, some residents have their hopes over a ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah. Under the ceasefire terms, Israeli occupation forces can remain in Lebanon for 60 days. Tens of thousands of Lebanese have begun to return home following ceasefire brokered by American and French officials took effect at dawn on November 27th, offering hope to the displaced people who had fled their homes due to the violence of the war. And for more on this, the current situation in Lebanon, we're joined from Beirut by the Lebanese Ross Vice President, Fedi El Saidawi. Welcome to Q News. Thank you for being here with us on the program. Now, what has been the impact of the war on the healthcare situation in Lebanon?
We are facing the war. 6,000 home units are destroyed completely. And the people going back to the south to their homes, but unfortunately we have some villages we don't have access at all for it, and due to no electricity, no water, no infrastructure in the villages. So this is a big issue for the displaced people to go back home.
And what primary difficulties facing the Red Cross in Lebanon in providing aid to those affected areas?
The main concern for the Red Cross for the time being, we are offering all the support from health needed for relief, psychological support for all the population. Unfortunately, 4 hospitals are completely closed. For example, Marjayun, Mais Jabal, and another one, Tishbail. And at the Red Cross, we are doing a survey. We are planning to send soon some mobile clinic to those villages to support the population to services and health issues.
How long do you think, if the ceasefire holds, how long do you think it will take the situation in Lebanon the humanitarian situation in Lebanon to get back to how it was before the war? And what role would the Lebanese Red Cross play in that?
Okay, let's hope it will work. For me, it's not a question. From my personal point of view, it's not a ceasefire, it's a kind of a truce, because every day we have some issues from the Israeli side attacking the Lebanese border or the Lebanese population. Anyhow, as the Lebanese, of course, we believe it's a long way. It's a long way to be back to our actual situation before the war. A lot of things changed, a lot of things destroyed. The staff in the Red Cross, they are very tired after 1 year supporting the population. Even though we are coordinating with the ICCR, we coordinate a lot with the UNIFIL concerning our mission, because as you know, we work with neutrality and we offer humanitarian services for the different people from different population. The plan is a long way, and we are asking for support, especially now. Soon we are the winter start in Lebanon, and with the cold, we need equipment instead. Plus, of course, we are receiving a lot of medicines, covers, mattresses, but we need heater equipment to support the population, especially with the climate over Lebanon.
What is life like for people in southern Lebanon who are going through this right now, especially, as you mentioned, with the weather as it is at the moment and with winter here already?
You know, it's not an easy situation, but we have a support between population. And at the Red Cross, we are coordinating a lot, as I mentioned, with the ICCR, with the Federation, to get the support with the United Nations. We need a lot of support. The population, they are back to their homes. Some of them, they don't have homes anywhere. They are living with their family, whatever, sharing their houses, their apartment. It's very difficult. It's not easy, and especially when you have what we call it the blue line. It's like the most destroyed units. They are mainly in the blue line, what represent around 5 kilometers away from the border, from the sea up to the mountain.
When it comes to the ceasefire, how effective do you think the United Nations, the United States have been in monitoring the ceasefire?
I hope it will work. You know, it's their job to do this, to let us work properly. We coordinate a lot with the UNIFIL to guarantee passage for the population and mainly to protect our staff, to offer the health service for different people.
And with the increasing number of displaced persons, what are the measures that are most needed to provide sustainable solutions for those affected?
For the time being, a lot of displaced people, they are going back to their villages, okay? Even in Beirut, the south of Beirut, a lot of people go back, try to, I don't want to say to rebuild. For the time being, we are under survey plan from different organizations to assist and help the population.
Well, thank you very much. That was the Lebanese Red Cross Vice President, Fedi El-Saidawi. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. And that's all on our program. Very much for joining us here on our special coverage. Good night.
The Israeli occupation